Alcor and I just arrived at the Wind River in Wyoming. I forget what this campground is called because it's not the one I planned on staying at, but I drove by and saw it, and there is not a single soul here, and it's gorgeous, as you can see. There's birds everywhere. I hear the crickets chirping, so I know there's bugs, but there's none of those evil, deadly bugs that I found in northern Nevada, so that's nice. That's a plus. I love it. Got a little solitude, got a lot of nature. This is day one of what I think of as almost like the real journey. The real journey has begun because now, I don't know, now the van's done, I guess, and I'm kind of headed into the unknown. Everywhere I've been so far, I've been before, and now I'm going to some places that I've never been before, not even close. So that is pretty exciting for me. The journey has begun in earnest. I'm gonna cook a little bit of whatever you want to call it. I have this dried food that I've had for a while that comes in little bags. It's kind of for like survival prepper purposes. You know, you're supposed to keep a good amount of food and water on hand in case of disaster, but after 5 years that goes bad too, the water faster. So you want to use it all. So I use it when I'm camping. So I'll actually show you the setup that I have. You can see what my dinners are going to consist of on most of this journey, and then maybe you'll get to see my breakfast setup too. The one downside of this beautiful campground that nobody is at is that there is no place to hang my hammock if I want to be down here by the water. And I do want to be down here by the water because you can probably hear a little bit of that traffic up there, and this is the furthest away you can get from it. And also, let's just look at that again. That. So don't get a hang hammock today, but I do get to be surrounded in this gorgeousness, and this is just something that I love about Colorado and this area of Wyoming in general. Those little sunflowers grow everywhere. They're just like miniature sunflowers, and they're beautiful. So that's cool. There's also this beautiful flora here. It's almost like a mini thistle. I'm not sure what it is, but it's also gorgeous. So yeah, here I go. I'm gonna get some dinner ready. Okay, making dinner. This Pyrex container here is airtight. It also, the lid stays on nice and tight. So I soak those beans and dried tomatoes and all of that dried food I was telling you about. So this is just like a Mod Podge kitchen sink sort of thing. It's been soaking all day, so the benefit of that is that it will cook really quickly if you're into that kind of thing. So I just set it on, let it go, stir it every once in a while, and then I'm going to have dinner in a little bit. It'll be plenty, so it'll go right back into the same container. It'll be leftovers and go into the cooler for tomorrow's lunch and possibly dinner, depending on how much I make, so then you don't even have to make dinner again the next day. So this is the way I kind of do camping for multiple days. And then this is set up here. It's just sort of a wind blocker so the flame doesn't go out. It's really not that windy, but it's just a precaution. And then the same thing I'll do tomorrow, but with oatmeal, or sorry, tonight I'll set up an oatmeal and dried fruit and nuts in a similar container. It'll soak overnight and then go in the same pot after I wash it tonight. And then my breakfast will be oatmeal. Again, that'll probably have leftovers, so then the next morning I won't have to make anything again. The benefits to this are that it's ridiculously cheap. It's already half finished for you by the time you put it on the fire, so you're conserving some fuel, and then you make extras and have leftovers. So it's really, really easy, simple, healthy. Honestly, if I lived this way all of the time, life would be pretty cheap, but also probably pretty boring. Sorry, I thought I saw another duck or something diving there. You can see the ripples from it, but I'm not sure what it was. I'm sure I'm going to see some fantastic wildlife here tonight, mostly because there's no humans here. And I might go up there and find a spot in the shade eventually too. There's Falkor in the mountains behind. I'm liking the Wind River so far. Very pretty. So while I'm waiting for dinner, I'll tell you about this little tiny town I drove through. It's called Natrona. That's a gull. For a second I thought it was a kid. This little town called Natrona on 26, which is taking me from, oh gosh, Casper. Casper is a pretty cool town, actually. It's a bigger city-ish sort of place. There was this weird tower in the middle of it that looked like the Eye of Sauron. I'm not joking, it was kind of weird. And as you enter town, there's a Masonic greeting for you, as is common. Anyway, I'm driving down 26 to get to Shoshone, where I then am heading north now on 20, and that's where I found this little campground called, again, I don't remember, but it's on the Wind River. Driving down 26, headed to Shoshone, little tiny town called Natrona, and it says population 10, so that's amazing. I've never seen a population sign that small. That was pretty cool. And it's one store, maybe. It's a store, maybe a restaurant. It didn't seem like they had gas, but I think you could stop there and probably buy something. This little town has 10 people, and all 10 of them are standing in front of that store having a cookout, and I loved it. Maybe there was like 15 people there, maybe a few of their friends came over. But like, there must be a family that just had a store, somehow got it made into an official town, got a population sign even, and they just lived there together. I just liked imagining that they're hanging out every day and night, having their cookouts, running their store, living in the middle of kind of nowhere in Wyoming. Wyoming is full of nothing, just hours and hours of driving of just empty fields. It's gotta be growing something or raising cattle or something, but just a lot of nothing. It's gorgeous, and at the same time it's tiresome after a while. This is one of the days where I drove longer than I ever really planned to, just to kind of get a start, because I'm a bit late starting this journey. So I'm not really trying to rush, but I am making up time where I can. So usually I'm going to do about 4 hours of driving, which is almost nothing. But today I did 7, and 7 hours through mostly Wyoming is it's a bit much, as you may remember from the previous video. Anyway, just wanted to tell that little story of a tiny community in the middle of nowhere. Super cute. I want to say that I would love that, but I'm sure I would get bored. But I'm happy for them. Maybe you can see a small touch of how many bugs are out there. These ones are like, I don't know, some kind of moth or something. It's this. Maybe you can see him better. They're on the outside, don't worry. But that's why I'm on the inside. That other place I was camping was so pretty, right? But it was ridiculously fucking covered in mosquitoes. I seriously have maybe 50 bites on me right now, and that was just from cooking that dinner that I was showing you guys. So I got in my van, I drove to the next campsite. There's not as many mosquitoes here, but there's these fucking swarms of whatever the fuck those are. So I'm a weenie. Maybe you're starting to see a theme. I don't deal well with bugs, so it's ironic that I really like to be outdoors and camping, but I've been a spoiled brat in the Pacific Northwest. Things are both this beautiful or more beautiful, and there's not really many bugs. So here I am facing my fucking mortal enemy, or not facing them by hiding in my van, where I've already been all day, and now I am eating my dinner sitting on the floor. It's like too hot to go to bed and too buggy to cool down outside. So here we are. Hopefully tomorrow I end up somewhere with less bugs. I hope this isn't the theme of the whole trip. I'm probably going to invest in some poison like DEET and just fucking douse myself and deal with it. Gross. That's fucking just disgusting. Alright. Good night. So I've come to Thermiopolis, Wyoming, where there's a lot of geological coolness, like this structure, which is a spring, a hot spring full of minerals. So as it's slowly come out over probably millions of years, it's created this structure. It's really cool. If it's nice, I'm gonna put my toes in it. They call it teepee fountain. It only vaguely smells of sulfur here. It is warm, but not too hot. So you saw the bug situation last night. I did sleep okay. There were a few bugs in the car that I had to kill, but I made it through. Woke up at butt crack of dawn because I wanted to get out of there, and did a few things. And I still haven't cooked that breakfast that I've been soaking, but it's nice and cool here, and I think I'm gonna do it here. But first I'm gonna go look and see if you can actually get in any of these pools, and while it's still cool, I'm gonna go soak. So this is gorgeous. It looks like I could walk up there. I don't know if you can get in. You can clearly get in here. You just can't climb up on those structures. This is so cool. This is like Yellowstone, but you can actually access it all. It's looking a little marshy down here. I don't know if I'm actually going to get in. Just saw fish. The fish can live in it. It can't be that warm even. Put my feet down in the mud. Yeah, there's little schools of fish and stuff down there. That's cool. It is warm. Ooh, and slimy. Hey everybody. Thermiopolis. Also not a soul here. This time not because there's mosquitoes everywhere, but because it's 6 a.m. And that's what happens when you run away from a place at 6 a.m. No one's awake yet. But I do see that crawdad there next to those little fishies. He's waiting for a meal. Maybe I should eat him. I bet he tastes like sulfur. Super awesome. That's the, if it's not the Wind River, it's the Bighorn River. I'm not sure which comes into town here at Thermiopolis, but river's speeding into town, and then it meets up here with the hot springs. Super rad. As you can see on the hill there, they pointed out this is the world's largest mineral hot spring. So hey, I'm here on the Flathead Indian Reservation. I'm far from where I thought I would be. Aren't we all? I headed up to the Flathead Valley. I'm in the Flathead Valley. I'm headed up to the northern Flathead Valley, where I will camp one more night before crossing over into Canada and finally getting to hug Sasha McDonald, which is one of the highlights of my life. So that's coming up. But I just, I haven't put into this video the rough times, you know? This is all the highlights of the good things. So I think the last time I took a video was 2 mornings ago, and that day after the camping spot that was full of mosquitoes, and then the next camping spot that was full of moths or whatever those were swarming around me. It was a very windy night. It was a very hot night. What I hadn't counted on, I totally thought of like, oh, how cold is it going to get? Am I going to be warm enough in the van? And what I had not thought of is it going to be too hot in the van? Because when you only have screens on a few tiny windows and there's a billion bugs trying to get in and it's hot outside, that's bad. And what's even worse is when you then get a fever in that same night. So that was rough. It was a rough night. I didn't sleep much. I woke up in the morning and I was like traumatized and I wanted to run away. So I got in my van and drove on to Thermiopolis. And you actually did see some video of that. I started feeling better, I thought. And I had some fun there, and then it hit me again pretty heavy. And so I totally just got weak and got a hotel room. And it really wasn't weak. And what I should say is that I got smart and I took care of myself and I got a hotel room, because there was nowhere that I could have pulled the van over and had shade and comfort and slept it off. And I did sleep for 20 hours. This is not an exaggeration. That's how sick I was. So I had a slight sinus infection as far as I can tell. Luckily, I came prepared with a neti pot and some colloidal silver and some oregano oil. So I got that shit out of me, knocked it out, and got back on the road. And I still haven't been rushing. Just been trying to, you know, take the more beautiful highways and freeways on my way. And I'm still camping in gorgeous spots. So it's somehow still been okay. It's weird. I feel like I lost a day, but I somehow haven't. And that seems to be the theme of this trip. One of the many themes is you really can't lose time, right? But you can make good and bad choices. And one of the good choices you can make is to slow down and take care of yourself when you need to. Because if I would have kept pushing on, who knows what would have happened. We don't want to get unsafe now, right? And look, I still get all this beauty. It's amazing. Montana is a gorgeous country. I grew up here a bit. I left here when I was 4 or 5, and I came back every summer and every year for many, many years, but I haven't been back for maybe 15 years, so it's really, really nice to be here. I feel like I've come home again in many ways, and I wish I could spend more time. My family's from the Flathead Valley, actually. We lived all over the Flathead Valley, both sides of my family, and my father's likely a Blackfoot Indian, which is just on the other side of the mountains. So it is home, and it's sad that none of my family's here anymore, but ironically my mother just left here like 2 days ago. So we just missed each other. We were laughing about that. Would have been cool to see her, but anyway, I took a breather here and I just wanted to tell you guys about that. The less glamorous aspects of this journey are not going to be highlighted on film, but they do happen. Just like everybody, just like all of life. But yeah, happy to be here and feel well so quickly, and it's fucking gorgeous. I'll try to see if I can get some more of this scenery for you guys to enjoy. Mwah. Flathead Lake, which is in the valley where I grew up before I moved to Washington. So let me show you. So just in case you wonder what it was like in the van when you're chilling in here, it's still light out. I'm still kind of sick though, so I'm fighting it off, but this is the swank. Let me show you. Oh, yeah. Got the light strip all the way down. Chilling in here with my coziness, and tomorrow I will wake up and maybe after I cook some breakfast I'll take a little swim if it's warm enough, and then I'm gonna go up and cross into Canada. So country 2 of the adventure, and God, I even lost count of how many states, but it's been a wild and wonderful journey so far, and I can't wait to see what border crossing in a van and camping in Canada is like. It's going to be pretty rad. So stay tuned for what will it be, episode 6 maybe by the time that comes out. So anyway, I love you guys. Good night. Mwah.